Yo guys, welcome back to the ScreenTalk YouTube channel. We are here to discuss the hit show coming straight out of South London, the Supacell. I know you guys have been watching, and it's only right that I came here with some South London natives. I'm not from South, but I had to come here with some South London natives. Big up yourselves. I'm here with Kit, I'm here with Timi, and a first time debut appearance on the ScreenTalk YouTube channel. Big up yourself, Maz. Everyone wave, say hi.
Get used to my face, man. I'm trying to be in more often. I can't lie, bro.
Come on. Look, I'll be honest with you. I'll big up South London today. Obviously, you man have done your thing. I really enjoyed the Supercell series, but I'm intrigued to see what you guys think. We haven't really spoken about it too much, so I want to hear what you guys kind of think.
In terms of what I liked, I really liked how grounded it was. I feel like obviously the stereotype within media within the UK is like, oh, the whole gang war nonsense, like the postcode war, da. It's just a whole load of cliche stuff, and that's, I guess, what we're known for. Obviously, this show had elements of that, but I also feel like this show had a lot of depths, something that we failed to see before because of the kind of niche that we've been put in. And I think Rapman, what he did really well was like really interconnect everybody's stories quite well. Like obviously the five main protagonists are obviously the guys who get the superpowers, but I really feel like all their stories really kind of just worked. I really love the little not interchanges, but the interactions that all the characters kind of had when they didn't even know who each other was. I remember there was this one scene with Michael and Andre, and they were talking in the restaurant, and there was a shot of them back to back. And I kept thinking to myself, like, yo, are these people gonna actually finally talk to each other? No, but they didn't. And they kept alluding to that, in the first kind of 3 episodes, and I just really kind of like that element. Like it was something I haven't really seen before. But overall, I really did enjoy the show. Obviously every show has issues or whatnot, and I think we'll probably get to that later. But for what it's worth, I really enjoyed it. It was a very much nice change of pace. Yeah.
Similar to Timi, I think I like the way that the show, how Rapman done things in the sense of it's not just the typical, right, we get superpower, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna buy like a costume, and then it's not like your typical superhero show in it, where you're seeing people, they get superheroes and the first thing and the first thing they think about is how am I going to use this to my advantage, don't care about anyone else, sort of thing. And I think that's more realistic, because I don't think if any of us man got powers today, I don't think the first thing we think of is how we're going to save the earth. We don't.
Exactly.
I forgot what his name is, the one that had super speed.
Yeah.
His name?
Yeah. Rodney.
Yeah. Started making shots, hitting shots, started trapping But I think that's just realistic. That's the realism of it, isn't it? I feel like a lot of men in the ends, if they got powers, they're not saving the earth. They're using it for their own good. You get me? Using it for their own sort of benefit. And I think as well, I like the fact that you see the thing. We always say London is small, and I was discussing this with someone before, London is small, so it actually shows us that London is small because all the characters were around each other, past each other, like Kim said, sitting next to each other, and they're all next to each other because London is such a small place, and we always hear that whole saying of, London was always small, this person or that person, and I feel like Rapman proper actually got the image of how it is typically to be from London. But that's just a few things, so there's obviously more, but we will do that after.
Yeah, I think Maz and Timi have said most of it, but what I'd say is I liked I don't even know how to explain it, but it's kind of multi-storytelling. That's probably not the word for it, but just kind of storytelling all at once. It's like how Tim was saying, I think there was a scene as well where Michael's doing a delivery, and I think either he held the door open for someone or someone held it open for him. So I think right from the offset, it just kind of, shows that these guys are all linked. And it's funny how you kind of look at all their situations and think your relationship with this person is who this person is beefing. What's her name? Sabrina's sister being with Crazy. That was kind of Taser's kind of that's who was kind of making his life hell. So they didn't know how each of their decisions and situations basically affecting the other person until they eventually came together. So I say that's one aspect I enjoyed. I think the second point I'd say is that what's it called? It's realistic. I'll just expand on what Matt said. It is realistic. There's been a lot of complaints about what they did with powers, etc., etc. It's like we have to look at it from a realistic point of view. I think the main one being Taser, of him killing us. Like, if you were a GM and you had better odds, and then suddenly you got the power of invisibility, most likely you would. That's what you do. I won't be able to go to the odd block. You can just take out a law, because that's what you do. So I think it is very, very realistic. Not very, as in it is realistic within the context of the show. So yeah, at least that's what I have to say in terms of like positives.
For me personally, yeah, like everyone's really kind of touched on it, but I really loved how the spotlight was on normal people, in a sense where people just like doing normal jobs. One person was a nurse, one person was struggling to make ends meet, one person was a delivery driver. And I loved how especially with the history of where Rapman is coming from, of making like hood kind of videos or like kind of like gang focused like media, he could have made the main character a gang member and done it in that kind of direction, but he made it 105, and I really like that the focus was on that as well. And like the writing was really good to kind of weave all these stories together in a really good way. I can tell, like, I'm happy that they spent time on this project to make all of those like paths meet and go in and out. It made the suspense like really, really good. And yeah, obviously all the acting portrayals were really, really good. People that I liked what Matt said as well about portraying the fact that London is small, and you could see that like if you're from London, there was like a little bit of extra like kind of like love that we could tell about the show. A lot of things were realistic, like when they first saw the superpowers, I was like, hey, well, that's good. Good. I was like, that's exactly how I would react. And that's how like the culture has kind of reacted to seeing like kind of things that we're not sure of in the past. Like we've heard of people maybe like doing kind of stuff like that. And then that's how like we talk about it and things like that. So I did really, really enjoy like the realistic portrayals that were there. And yeah, in terms of like how powers are portrayed, I've seen interviews, and I know that Rapman he's like a big nerd. Like he loves comic book kind of shows, and I could tell with certain ways in which he portrayed powers in it. Like I could tell Rodney in the future. We saw Rodney. He's not just fast; he can throw a line in. Only a Flash fan, like only a guy who likes the Flash, knows that like Speedster's like an interactive line in that way. And Michael wasn't just someone that could just jump back and forth in time and also teleport and things like that. I like the way the powers were portrayed as well. Obviously very simple, but I think we mentioned in our podcast previously about Black Hollywood, I feel like they kept it simple in some ways and explored a lot in other ways. And I feel like that's a good foundation for like Black Hollywood or like these kind of stories to like build upon, where they can be a bit more expressive. Because obviously it's kind of like a basic set of powers, super strength, super speed, you know, moving forward in time, telekinesis. But the next show that we get from another creator will be more expansive in the power department. And I like that Rapman has set that kind of foundation for that as well. But obviously, you know, it can't all be positive. Like, I feel like does anyone else have anything like positive? Like,
I just want to
share
big up the people with sickle cell, because the way he.
Oh yeah. I forgot to mention. Yeah.
100%.
And he made it such a positive, like, and it's also bringing awareness to a big problem. Because I work in school, for example, and like I know people with sickle cell, and they find it difficult and stuff. And I feel like it's good to get awareness for sickle cell, because obviously it's a bit difficult to find a cure and stuff. And like, you know, doing some research, was talking about 1 in 79 babies are born in the UK that carry that cell. So it's like it's a very common issue, and I feel like it's sick the way he brought something like sickle cell and then made it into like a whole thing of like it's a power almost. And I just feel like it's obviously very relevant in the Black community more than anyone. And then also what links to that as well is the fact that they mentioned about giving blood as well. I remember when they were on the block, who was it on the block? I forgot who was on the block, but it was like Tiny and with them lot, and then he's talking about, oh, do you give blood type thing, and they're like, yeah man, gives blood for it. And they mentioned it, but I just feel like it's proper sick the way he took sickle cell and then made it a whole sort of power and like proper highlighting that what it is, because now a lot of people actually learn what sickle cell is through the show if they've never heard of it before. So yeah, man, big up the people.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Like,
no, genuinely.
Big up, so.
Yeah, literally every time. And the black cast, the all black cast, I think was very important. You know, as much as I hate on South London because I'm from East, come on, big up East. But this show had to be set in South. in a sense, like, and I'm happy that it was set in style, featured like a mainly black cast, and it portrayed a lot of the issues that the black community face in London, where it might be gang violence, it might be struggling to make ends meet, it might be sickle cell, it might be, you know, not trusting certain like no one's first instinct when they got powers was to go and tell someone, or like go to the government, or like tell police, because like a black person in London just wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? A black person might, you know, try to get some money, try to get some cash, you know, or, you know, try to save their loved one, you know, and it would come out like that. I did like that, yeah.
Probably one last thing is that I think the tagline for the show, I think, was either protect the one you love or save the one you love. So I think at first I thought it was just related to Michael, just because from the trailer it kind of showed like him and Dion in it, and it kind of explicit. I thought, okay. And then when you actually watch the show, you realize everyone kind of has someone. For Sabrina, the person he's trying to save is her sister. For Rodney, it's his friend. For Taser, it's his guys. His guys. He's the last one. Andres is his son, who's trying to save his relationship. So everyone is trying to protect something, but in terms of whichever form, they obviously have different formats. So I think that was a nice bit of foreshadowing, because initially I didn't kind of see that. Based on the trailers they initially released, it was just kind of Michael and Dion center. But obviously once you watch the show, you realize everyone is trying to protect someone.
Yeah, that was good. Again, just a credit to the writing as well. But two things popped up in my head quickly before we jump onto the negatives. The first thing was I did love seeing old actors from previous Black British shows or urban shows. That we got Some Girls, Youngers, one of my favorite shows ever. We saw actors from there pop up in this, which I did really like. And also, I like that the ending wasn't something that I was expecting. I didn't expect Crazy to be the Supercell, first of all. I didn't expect.
I don't know about that one.
I didn't expect Dion to die. I wasn't expecting her to die. Actually, I thought
that was a curveball. I won't lie. That was a curveball. That was a curveball.
That was a bit of a curveball, to be honest. That was very much a curveball. I did like it though. I did like it. Like, I like that the suspense wasn't paid off, where they didn't save her actually. Maybe everyone else was saved, but not the main person that we were trying to save. And we touched into that, the butterfly effect. And they try, obviously, everyone who has a time travel plot line in their show will come with plot holes if you're like that type of person to kind of look into it. But I feel like they kind of did well with showing that, listen, someone from the future can't just tell someone to do something past and then it will just magically fix things. You know, you might cause her years to actually get lower, then, you know, extend her life. And then, yeah. But also, before we go to negatives, I want to ask, any standout or like portrayals or acting that you guys found?
Yes. I have a couple actually. Yeah. The first one I was going to mention, ironically, is Taser's actor. Now, I feel like obviously with the character that he's portraying, like I mentioned before, I think it's a kind of a bit difficult to like make these characters have some sort of depth, because they're kind of like very one-dimensional. But obviously, because it's a TV series, and obviously you think it's kind of something we hadn't seen before. Obviously, he's got superpowers. Obviously, he's like the main leader of his gang or whatever. But you also saw his family side, like he's only living with his grandma. And in like, I think it was the first episode, the second episode, we saw him serving pounded jam or goosey to his grandma, bro. Like,
and listen, that auntie's portrayal was one of the most authentic portrayals.
So authentic. She's watching a sermon, she's eating swallow, like, it's so authentic. And I think he sold it really, really well. I think he sold that performance really, really well. Like, even when Tiny got shot, like his emotions there, I love that scene of him and Tiny in the hospital there. I just think his performance, like overall, was really, really solid.
Shout out him and shout out all the Tedeki brothers making content online, like I've been tapped into them before. So shout out all of them. But yeah, for Josh Tedeki, I feel like it wasn't a natural role for him to play like that kind of bad boy. But I think he done really, really well, like in terms of like doing like the scenes, like the action scenes, doing the emotional scenes. For like really, really good, really, really good. But like anyone else.
I still need to tap into Borders. I still need to tap into Borders.
Look into Borders is a proper good like You know what it is, yeah? I just feel like with shows that like similar to with Borders, is that you can tell with Supercells, they're written by actual like writers from black writers that are, because I was reading something actually about how the whole Supercell process happened. Like there was a lot of setbacks in the show, to the point where Rapman said he was writing till his fingers were bleeding, like because he had to step back, and then he took the some like these famous writers off. There were some white guys, he took them off, he done it himself, and I think it gave it that authenticity that you mentioned as well. It gave it a bit more, because now he's actually seeing what's going on. Because again, we watch a lot of shows and it's like it's set in the ends where it's like you don't really feel like it's from where you're from. But now I was watching and
even Top Boy to an extent, some of the
hard work paid off. I'll say though. I'll say that the hard work did pay off. I think it was yesterday or maybe even earlier today. I saw it's got 100% of Rotten Tomatoes.
yes,
Yeah,
100% of Rotten Tomatoes.
It's serious.
Worldwide on Netflix. Like I'm really happy this show is like it's going to the place that it needs to go.
I forgot his name. The one that plays Michael. I think he's just Tosin Cole.
I think Tosin Cole.
I think he's such a cold
Tosin Cole,
actor.
yeah.
Like, I just
very
think
good.
Really good.
take the
Really
role
good leader,
so
man.
well. Like. Obviously, there's also like
Really good. Really
obviously
good.
Tiny and that. Big up him as well, car. He was on live with me and Ads. He was talking, he was telling us about the show. Like, he was telling us how it was and stuff. So like, yeah, big up him as well.
Yeah, I think it was good across the board. Like even people with the small roles, they did their part. Like no one was really having. Even the celebrity appearances were quite good. Like it didn't take me out of it. Once I realized, oh, that's him. Like it didn't take me out of it.
Rapman's cameo was very funny.
Yeah,
his cameo was very funny.
Yeah.
Castillo as well. That one threw me off guard. That one threw me off guard. That one threw me off guard.
That one threw me off guard.
I was like, wait a second. That's a crazy, that one. That's a crazy, that one.
Yeah, no, literally.
If I'm going into what I think like could have probably been better, I won't. It's mad because I feel like the show across the board is really, really good. I just have my issues with the ending.
Yeah.
It's coming from a place of love. To be honest, like it's coming from a place of love. Honestly, number one, I don't think Get should have been killed off. Now, okay, hold on. I don't think crazy characters should be killed off. I think there's a lot more potential. But it's like they always say, if you don't see the body, then you can't really be dead. I thought of a theory in my head that maybe that security guard is like somebody from the future or something like that. And he just faked the gunshot. I said, no, we actually need you. And he like teleported them out somewhere else, whatever. That's what I thought. But I was like, obviously that season 2, I feel like it's inevitable, right? But I feel like, how do you progress the story from here? Like, he's now the big bad that you introduced. Do you get that?
It's who Michael sees in the future, isn't it? That's the plot.
I thought is, you know that girl that can heal?
Yeah.
He's going to heal crazy. And Alva, them two are gonna have like a little bond maybe, and then he sort of becomes good through like sort of Last of Us. Or she does heal him. I feel like she will heal him 100%. But where that story goes, I don't know.
I think also one plotline could be he's touched someone and he's their power to kind of get out of the situation, but we just don't see it.
That was another question I had because I was a bit confused about Crazy's powers. So can he just absorb anyone's powers?
Yeah.
He needs to touch them and he gets their power.
Remember where he sees where Tosin Cole sees what Crazy would have done if he grabbed the. So he observed Andre's power and then he started ranking up everyone. Like that scene, I can't like.
That scene, oh my god, I screamed. I screamed. The amount of hatred you have to have in your heart to stab someone over that much time, bro, is ridiculous.
That was a bad thing.
That scene, I actually had to replay that scene. I didn't think it happened. I actually had to replay it. That was such an insane scene, bro.
Well, one thing that was kind of annoying me throughout the whole show, again, coming from a place of love, Michael not telling his girlfriend. I know it's kind of like a plot device and it's creating suspense.
I'm not gonna lie though.
Like, at certain points, it just seemed like the worst. It seemed like the worst decision was to not tell her, and he's still not telling her. I hear it. You're shocked at first. You want to keep on, but now it seems like she's getting herself into bad situations. Like, tell her now. Like, you're delaying. And
I'll be honest. I hear it, but if I put myself into Michael's shoes, I don't think I'm telling my girl either. Because it's
I'm telling
like,
my girl,
it's like you're putting an ultimatum. It's like, do you want to spend the rest of your days knowing when your lady's gonna die, so you want to like cherish all the memories that you have with her, or tell her when she's gonna die and still do the same thing, but it just feels a little bit forced.
Look, I hear you, but only if she didn't see me go to the future and come back. If she didn't see me, then I'll hide it from her 100%. But you saw me teleport, and I said I went to the future, and now I'm moving cryptic. It's just like, obviously she's gonna have questions, and that's gonna take her to some places. And she's a social worker as well, so she has access to ask people and go around. I just would have told her a bit earlier.
Yeah, probably a little bit earlier. But then I was also annoyed with Dion because why were you still there? Why were you still there?
Again, obviously it's a show, so
certain allowance is cool, but guys, like if we're being honest, like if that's you in that situation, I'm sorry, my man's got powers. I'm dipping.
I'm not there.
He'll be alright.
I'm dipping.
He'll be alright.
Well, I'm staying in the car at least outside of the crazy place. Like, oh yeah, you come out with
also, oh my gosh, I was gonna ask, right? Sorry, this is just popped into my head. That A-Town, the Accrington Estate, that place where the final war part took place, right? I was thinking to myself, the way they entered through, it felt like a pocket dimension to me.
Yeah, it was hard. I like that.
How did that work?
I didn't like that.
You wouldn't be able to enter from any other place. I'm confused. So is this just a hidden spot?
Explain it to me.
It was kind of just like it was like a bando that's a whole estate. That's how I'm seeing it. Where it's just like anything can run there. I don't think that gang ran the whole place. If they ran it, then they would have like security and that people wouldn't be able to enter freely. But I think it's just a place where anything goes, like they said, because it's A-Town, anything goes. So it's just like, if you know it,
remember
if you know it, then you know
she
it.
said to Crazy that I allowed you to sell your job, so she they were living in that space, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense too.
I have a few discrepancies with the show.
Sorry, I love the way you said that.
I love the way you did that. I love the way you did that still.
The first one is, I think the organization I was against them, it made sense, but what I don't understand is that it took them way too long to watch them. Because when at first I thought it was maybe just a kind of typical run-of-the-mill, like underdogs, like these guys were literally tapped into every single CCTV camera ever, like you see the whole operation. So if they were a bit kind of slack, I could have allowed it, but the fact they were literally everywhere, I just thought like they could have done more. So that's the first thing. The second thing, the whole Michael and Dion thing, I think at the end, the ending as well, to me, I liked it, but at the same time, it kind of contradicted what initially said. Because initially, when he first goes to the future, his future self basically tells him that if you get all 5 of you, you can basically stop this.
He said maybe though. He said, look,
but that's what he said. That if
the premise was if you get all 5 of them together, you can save them from dying. All 5 of them was together, and she still died.
Exactly. Now
the future Michael's wrong because you can't just say that. You don't know. Like you actually don't know.
So now come the end of the show, she dies, and even when she died, I thought, okay, maybe she just like got shot in the like shoulder, or like something that she kind of healed from. But it's like she's actually dead. I thought we couldn't rewind it, so I was like, okay, it's a bit strange because earlier you said it just needs to die. I was like, okay, maybe there'll be little kind of post-credit things. But no, she's dead. The third thing is that I think, what's it called? Some of, actually, it's what Joseph was talking about earlier about Michael not telling Dion. I think I have to kind of agree with Timi Neville also in terms of him not deciding to tell him, because the way I saw it is just kind of like when it comes to like comic book suit, when like heroes have like, you know, alter egos like Spider-Man, when he like, doesn't tell, like him not telling people like he's Spider-Man, because I think Dion in a sense kind of remind me of like Mary Jane. It's kind of like one of those people, like, once she finds out, she's gonna kind of stick next to you, like whatever, like you can't tell her to like, go and like sit down, and the fact she was already kind of like a social worker investigating, I think that just kind of would have heightened it. And I think if he kind of told her right off the bat, I think there wouldn't be as much room for development, because basically the whole season would have just been her panicking and just basically just following him around everywhere. And she just basically kind of gets lapdog. So I think that kind of balance he had throughout, that kind of like wrestling, deciding whether to tell her, kind of at least create a bit of a arc for her, so that when obviously she eventually found out. And I like the part of her kind of doing the research, like kind of putting her own clues together to kind of find out that something was actually going on. Because if you're just told off the start, then, you know, nothing would have happened. But yeah, I think obviously my main grasp is just the kind of organization's capabilities based on what we've shown, and the ending as well. Yeah, so I think those are the main two. I liked it, but I just think it just contradicted what they kind of set up, what was kind of said earlier in the show. If they hadn't specifically said, like, oh, if you get the 5 of you guys together, that she won't die, then the ending would have made sense, because it was kind of like unpredictable. It was still unpredictable, it's just kind of like, but so what was the point of getting all 5 of you? He was just gonna die anyway. But I don't know if it maybe because he traveled to the future self, and that kind of, I don't know, created a rift or something, and the future self didn't know.
You could have easily used your power to take Dion home and then come back. If you wanted to make it. Yeah. I was thinking, so you could just transport.
You know, I never thought about that.
Yeah, you know, wait, he could have teleported. When it got crazy, he could have got. I was thinking at one point, why didn't he get all of them out? Like, get everyone out of this one space. Why does everyone need to be here? Like, you realize that crazy is part of these 6 hoods. You're not getting your sister back. You know, your son will come back home eventually. You know, like you don't need, this doesn't need to happen right now. Like, Michael can take us all out right now.
But I'm saying, like, you could have easily transported Dion home, be like, yo, babe, I was coming back. I was just
fine. At least Dion would have gone home.
Yeah. Coming back, yo. Taken up, man. He's like, grab the leg, grab the car away. Like, it's not gonna, you know what I'm saying? But
I just think his powers are just a bit. I mean,
they were a plot device. Yeah.
So I mean, that whole kind of future self, like, that's him. So I guess that version of him just lived his life, didn't time travel, but then begs the questions like, how would he know? I mean, obviously, you saw that he teleported, was that I never did that before. I don't know what that is. But then it's like, how would he then know that if all 5 of you are together, that she won't die? Like,
how was he so calm and seen a younger version of him if he doesn't even know he's a time traveler himself?
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
what if he just thinks I'm a teleporter? I've never traveled.
Do you know what I think, though? I think it's just because that future version of Michael has probably just been through so much at that point.
Guys enjoyed our Supercell spoiler review. Make sure to check out our podcast on Black Hollywood, which touches on topics that I feel like we're covered in Supercell. I had covered in this video here. And check out the Supercell review that is now live on the ScreenTalk website. And obviously follow us on our socials, follow us on TikTok to find the content on there. And
come on, see you on the TikTok,
you
man.
See, come on, what? How about creators?
Show reviews,
how about creators?
Comedy stuff, all that stuff. You get me?
You're gonna see stuff on there because we're creatives and we're coming out. Obviously,
I'm on 2.7 right now. Get me 3,000.
We've got stinky South Londoners in the match. But come on, guys! Remember to always keep screen talking, and don't forget to comment, like, and share.